Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to set up your door and panel supports. And before we start, we should just mention there is a left and a right. Left has left written on it just here, so that's easy to differentiate. You will also need a 5/32 or 4mm Allen wrench. I prefer a T-handle for this. It makes it a little bit easier. Okay, let's start with the basics. We have two door and panel supports. You should have a hex wrench. This is a 5/32 inch or 4mm. I like to use a T-handle for this. It's quite a bit easier. These are the two actual supports on the door and panel supports. You also have two knobs for each one and the 4 plates that will arrange for mounting them on the legs. Now, there is a left and a right in this pair. This would be your left, your right, and left is indicated by the words left on each plate. So you can see that, and the right is just self-explanatory by not being indicated with a word. So two other things you should have for this process: track clamp and something straight, about this long, maybe a little longer if you want, and we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, if it's not already installed, put these little rubber bumpers in each end of each support as a first step. Okay, so this is easier to do than it is for me to explain, but let's just start by looking at the two pieces of extrusion. I have the right side here and the left side here. Pay attention to which side is up and where the slots are. So for the right side, I've got the slot up and the other slot facing toward the right. For the left side, slot up, other slot facing toward the left. Now you're going to put these plates in facing towards each other, just as I have here. Leave them a little bit loose because we will now take the next step of attaching them to the legs. Okay, so here we are on the right end of the bench. You'll see the leg has a rivet nut here and one here. This is where the door and panel supports attach. Okay, so this is what we're going to accomplish. So on the left side of the bench, which is the side that is opposite from the cut strip, the door and panel support has its wide face out with the slot. The narrow face that's out toward the end of the bench is flat. And you'll see, here's the plate. This one is on the left side. It says left. We're using the innermost of the two slotted holes for the bench. Same thing at the bottom. And then we'll look on the other end. You can see here, the plate is against the leg, slot facing out, slot facing in. Same thing on this end. So we'll take a quick look over here. You can see I'm in the innermost of the two slots. Let's take this knob out. Just show you exactly how this plate should be positioned relative to the hole in the leg. Now you want to locate each of these plates so that the bottom of the slot is about even with the hole. That way, you're going to put your knob in there. And what this does is, if the table needs to go up because of uneven terrain and you've adjusted the leveler, then that hole in the leg will go up in the slot. And you can still attach the door and panel support so that it sits on the floor or the ground, because we want the weight that it's carrying to always be going into the earth and not hanging off the leg. So adjust both plates so that the hole in the leg is at the bottom of the slot. And now we'll line it up with the side of the table. Okay, so I've loosened the knobs on both plates so that the support can move a little bit. Next thing to do is take your clamp and your straight edge, clamp that to the side of the bench in line with the support. So this is going to allow you to line up the support with the plane of the side of the bench. So you can see this can move now, right? So I just want to pull the whole thing against the straight edge, and now we're all on the same plane with the side of the bench. So you take your wrench and come back around the other side, tighten these plates, maybe just one top and one bottom real quick so they're stable, and get the other one. All the while making sure that the door and panel support was sitting on the floor before you did this. Okay, so now I'm nice and solid. Everything is in plane. So now when I'm actually putting something on the door and panel support, it's going to be in plane with the side of the bench all the way up and down. That way I've got continual support from where I'm holding it up to where I'm clamping it to the bench, and it's going to be very stable. Okay, so here's the actual platform that will support the material you're working on. If you want, you can just leave this installed in the door and panel support when you're using it or not. Also, you can put it in and take it out, depending on what you're doing. If you want to leave this attached all the time and you don't want to bump into this. So just loosen that T-bolt enough that the flat part of the bolt sticks out of that neck here. And then you can just slip this in while it's in place and secure that wherever you like. So super solid, and you can use a tape measure to position it relative to some part of the frame based on the dimension of the piece you're working on, so that you can do one here and one on the other end, make them nice and even so everything you're working on will be level and at a comfortable height. Okay, one last thing to mention. You can see that we've got a threaded hole on each plate. What that's for is so you can store the knobs when you're not using this. And that way, you'll never lose them. Thanks for watching.